Rather than passively waiting for someone else to save her city, she had the wisdom and courage to act quickly and decisively. Hi everyone, I'm Tammy Becker. Welcome to week 24 of 52 in our weekly deep dive of the Women of the Bible using Jean Swarta's Bible study book. And we're deep diving into the biblical character of the wise woman of Abel Beth Maacah. And our scriptures this week will be from the reading of 2 Samuel chapter 20, verse 14 through 22. And before I begin getting started in our reading together, I'd like to remind you to grab your free micro Bible journaling printable and supplies so that when we get ready to journal together creatively with God in our compact micro Bible after the reading, you have everything. And if you haven't grabbed that free printable, you can do so by finding the link in the description of the video. You'll get all 52 printables sent straight to your inbox each week as we go through the series. And if this is your first time with us, your first printable would begin with Eve, and you will want to go back to episode 1 and work your way through each week as your printables arrive in that order. And it's important. That's the way the Bible goes, and that's where you should start. So let's read through a little bit about the wise woman's biblical story together. All the men of Israel deserted David to follow Sheba, son of Bichri, because the men of Judah stayed by their king. David said to Abishai, "Take your master's men and pursue him, or he will find fortified cities and escape from us." So all the mighty warriors went out under the command of Abishai, and they marched out from Jerusalem to pursue Sheba, son of Bichri. Sheba passed through all the tribes of Israel to Abel Beth Maacah. All the troops with Joab came and besieged Sheba in Abel Beth Maacah. They built a siege ramp up to the city, and it stood against the outer fortifications. And while they were battering the wall to bring it down, a wise woman called from the city, "Listen, listen, are you Joab?" "I am," he answered. And she continued, "We are the peaceful and faithful in Israel. You are trying to destroy a city that is a mother in Israel." Joab replied, "That is not the case. A man named Sheba, son of Bichri, from the hill country of Ephraim, has lifted up his hand against the king, against David. Hand over this one man, and I'll withdraw from the city." The woman said to Joab, "His head will be thrown to you from the wall." Then the woman went to all the people with her wise advice, and they cut off the head of Sheba, son of Bichri, and threw it to Joab. So she sounded the trumpet, and his men dispersed from the city, each returning to his home. All right, now that we've got our reading done, it's time to grab all of your supplies and your micro card, and let's get started in our creative time with our precious Father as you follow along with me in the down view in our little micro compact Bible together. Okay, I have my card cut out, and we'll get started. On our micro card is 2 Samuel chapter 20, verse 15 to 16. It says, "All the troops with Joab came and besieged Sheba in Abel Beth Maacah. They built a siege ramp up to the city, and it stood against the outer fortifications while they were battering the wall to bring it down. A wise woman called from the city, 'Listen, listen, tell Joab to come here so I can speak to him.'" So what I wanted to do is show you guys, I wanted to read from you. I have this archaeology Bible. I love this Bible, by the way. I'll put the link in the description in case you want to check it out. But when I was researching this, it says in this Bible, it says for verse 20:15, battering the wall. Battering rams are mentioned
in the Mari letters in the 18th century BC, and battering rams and siege mounts are both noted in the Hittite text from the mid to late 17th century BC. The best depictions, however, come from the 19th to the 8th century BC Assyrian reliefs. A relief from the palace of Ashurnirpal II at Kalu, 9th century BC, depicts a rather sophisticated battering ram. And then it shows the photo, and I want to hopefully see if I can, if you can see this or not. Literally what the looks like battering ram from the photo. Its elongated body supports a tower in the front, which its ram itself protrudes. The machine measured about 20 feet in both height and length and moved about on 6 wheels. Similar battering rams are depicted in the reliefs of 701 BC. So these battering rams are similar or smaller than the depicted to the ones in the palace, but with only 4 wheels, but they're equally effective at destroying the towers and breaching the city walls. Anyway, that was interesting, so I'll put that link. Wanted to I like looking up the different words and things in the Bible. So when we let me go ahead and get started here. Hopefully you have everything cut out and ready to roll. So when we look about the wise woman, you know, knowledgeable, she was kind of accepted for her wisdom, and apparently she functioned like authoritatively, like military leaders or prophets within their communities when necessary. And so the anonymity of the wise woman in the Bible seems to confirm that when this term was used, it kind of evokes a cultural accepted role in the community that remove the need for further description. So it's clear that the wise woman operated locally, and we can assume that these local venues served like as a central place for the resident population. And on the other hand, their reputation was renowned enough to convince a king and a general to heed them, reflecting the importance and resonance of their role in the early Israelite society. So the wise woman of Abel Beth Maacah makes three pretty significant statements, I think, both that's kind of good to note. Both economic and informative. All three play really a role in understanding the archaeology finds, like I showed you. So the first is her reference to a city and a mother in 2 Samuel 20:19. Another is the cryptic they used to say in the old days, "Let them inquire at Abel," and thus they settled things. And that's in 2 Samuel chapter 20, verse 18. And then the third is her statement, "I am peaceable, faithful to Israel," 2 Samuel 20:19. That up, but that's typical. So many scholars have pretty much pondered the meaning of the phrase "a city and a mother," which appears in the Bible only in this instance. So Deborah is called a mother of Israel, which is somewhat different. So one interpretation assumes that the city itself is the mother, which is also reflected in the translation of this phrase in the Septuagint as metropolis, which is a Greek term, and it's still used to describe major urban centers, you know. So the identification of the city as a mother is reflected in the concept of the city and its daughters. You can check out Joshua chapter 17, verse 11 also. It's describing an urban center that controlled like satellite settlements, and the satellites are the daughters, and the city is like the mother. So another interpretation sees the wise woman herself as the mother. Thus, when she admonishes Joab for wanting to destroy a city and a mother in Israel, she means that he wants to do both to the city and to herself, and she's the mother, although it's not in a biological sense, but rather a matriarch. So, and then other scholars, when I was searching, says that the mother is used in the sense of an oracle or a arguer. This like association of the mother and oracle might enlighten one of the other statements made by the wise woman. They used to say in the old days, let them inquire at Abel, and thus they settled things, which alludes to it having been a long-lived local center for divination. And either way, the idea of Abel Beth Maacah as having a reputation for wisdom and faithfulness to the tradition of Israel sits pretty well with the role of the wise woman as a local figure of authority and influence operating in this particular city, which served as a regional city for both the political and leadership and possibly like the cult related activities there, if you will. So the meaning of mother as like an oracle is possibly paralleled in the term found over in Judges chapter 18, verse 19. It's wherein the tribe of Dan and the prophet Micah to accompany them in their journey northward, and they became the father and the priest in the city of Dan. So the biblical tradition of Dan in the 10th century describes an important cultic center established there by Jehoram. And so we see that regardless, it's intriguing for purposes and possibilities that the wise woman of Abel Beth Maacah filled the role of an oracle, especially since the wording of 2 Samuel chapter 20 verse 18. In the past, they would always say, let them inquire in Abel, and that is how they settled things. So in the Septuagint, it includes an additional reference to Dan as well. The Septuagint version of 2 Samuel 20:18 reads, of old time they said thus, surely one was asked in Abel and Dan whether the faithful in Israel failed in what they purposed. So, could it be that the mother of Abel Beth Maacah and the father of Dan reflect the existence of a religion famous for an oracle activity during most of the Iron Age? So regardless, the wise woman's statement of the city has always been peaceful and faithful in Israel. 2 Samuel chapter 20, verse 19. So we understand the reference faithful in Israel to mean literally that Abel Beth Maacah had an allegiance to King David's court in Jerusalem. And this would explain why the wise woman of Abel Beth Maacah's residence so readily handed over the rebel Sheba's head to Joab. So, very, very, the actions and the roles of this wise woman serves really as an important window into the status and impact of women in the early Israelite society. For the most part, scholars have really recognized the source of female empowerment stemming from prominence in the household, especially in the realms of like nutrition, child rearing, controlling household crafts, organizations. So the actions of this wise woman were different. They, having been conducted outside the household in a public sphere, women filled the authoritative political role in Israel's pre-monarch days, when society was like, they had like a political power and distributed among the tribes and the villages. So although wise women also appear in biblical texts during the early days of the Israelite monarchy, the roles seem to vanish later in the Iron Age after the monarchy becomes more centralized and established. You'll sometimes find that the wise woman is also found, can be called the old woman. Oh, goodness. Interesting. We do notice that King David, everything stopped. They listened to her. Very interesting lesson today. Hope that you found value in it. I think that's, I was going to put a little chalk on. I didn't do that ahead of time. So I'll do it a little bit now. And I want to brush on some of my glitter. And then I'll dry the glitter off camera so you don't have to hear the dryer.
Hey guys, wasn't that so much fun? I love doing this every week with you. I hope you're enjoying these wonderful printable pages as much as I am, and I would love to give a shout out to my entire Y.O.U Ministries team behind the scenes and everyone that helps keep me going and help being able to spread God's word. So if you enjoyed this, friends, please help us out by sharing the video. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Hit the little notification bell so you receive the notifications when the next episode's out. And next week we're going to deep dive into the story of Rizpah. And if you would like to dive a little bit deeper into the wise woman's story and all the 52 women we are studying and journaling along in our Bible together, this is what we do over in our Faith Pod, which is a deeper dive into her story, legacy, and scripture, her life and times, her legacy and prayer. So come on over and join us in our Faith Pod. It's only $5 a month. It's a donation. And you get an additional, about 20 printables a month, and sometimes more than that. So it's a lot of fun over there, and it drips out every 7 days, and it's in order of how the Bible comes out when you sign up. And the donation money goes to our nonprofit and helps pay those wonderful ladies behind the scenes that make the digitals for you and supports their families. So let's keep them working, and let's keep the lessons coming and the printables for you. And I appreciate it so much for you guys stopping over and at least checking out the Faith Pod. And so if you want to do that, our website is www.youministries.com, and we'd love to give you a chance. If you need a prayer, anything, just check us out over there. There's a lot of freebies over there as well. So that's it for today, guys. I hope to see you back next week. Blessings. Bye.